It is podcast 10 of the Race Department Formula One series, and we have two guests this week. We have the amazing Eric Roben.
Hello, guys. Pleasure to be here again.
And then we have recurring for his second time on the show. We have the returnee, Thomas Burgess Glass. We'll just call him Thomas to make things easier.
Hello, guys.
And we have Jonathan Seeks as well, joining us in the box, as usual.
Yeah, you're right.
Silverstone, many of our home Grand Prix. In general, how do we feel about Silverstone?
Quite like the track. Last season on 2011, didn't really like it, but this time the track seemed to suit my driving style a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I think with the way the cars handle and everything, I think it suited me a bit more.
Thomas?
Silverstone, it's a circuit I quite like. I did quite well when I was practicing, but I think when it came down to the weekend, it was just disaster after disaster. But it's just one of those things, you know. Good circuit, bad weekend.
I mean, it beats the old Ascot circuit, which if you saw what was it?
Stirling Moss.
Yeah, Stirling Moss thing, which was amazing. Highly recommend it if you've got iPlayer. But Eric, since how does it feel for a Dutchman coming across to drive at the home of motor racing?
Well, of course, it is a really special classic track, no doubt about it. I don't really hate the track, but it's not a favorite of mine either. I do tend to have a poor record here so far, so it's actually a damage limitation race for me again, I thought, coming up to this race.
That's true. I mean, here it's really a wheel track, really, and for me, I love the track, especially the Sector 2 and the old part of the circuit. Not so much the new part; it's a bit fiddly, but it's still, you get that sort of fuzzy feeling inside when you get all the track hooked up together. I think it makes me sound like James May, but obviously, it's a great track, and I do hope Bernie keeps it at Silverstone. I mean, wasn't there rumours that it would go to Brands Hatch for a bit, didn't it? Or
Donington, Donington.
Yeah, Donington. I mean, Donington wouldn't be that bad.
No.
But anyway, obviously we're going to skip through this chat quite a bit this week because obviously we've got the mid-season review coming up soon. Hopefully, I think Eric, you're joining us for that one, aren't you?
Yeah, sure. I'll be up for it.
Yeah, sweet. Anyway, so let's move on to F1. So Eric, you can have the honour of taking us through qualifying.
Yep. As we are looking at the qualifying results, we can see Indrexen took pole position with a 1:29.9, a very good lap, really quick, and his first pole position of the season for him. That's really nice for the Williams team. I was in second place, so I was really happy about that. It was even a personal best lap for me, so I really got the lap in when it mattered. And third place newcomer Dan 27's Massa finally joined the league, and he's back in business, it seems. A good qualifying for him. And then comes Tadger, Kex and Bessa, Gunny Gamble, Red Tabor, and Woody was a bit disappointed with his qualifying pace, as he was a bit off the pace, as you can see, a few seconds behind the man on pole position.
Maybe with that time he would be mid-table in the GP2 league as well, so it's a bit, that's not really him, really. Anything which really stood out for you, besides you getting second place? I mean, you getting second place does stand out. I think
you can see the field is really close, and that's nice, but you can also see a huge gap to Hendricks, and he was like flying, he was more than a second from all of us, so that was, I think, not really a surprise that Indrexen is so quick, but a surprise that some of the guys didn't get the 130. There was at least 3 guys, I think, that could have been in the 130s, and that was the biggest surprise, I think, and maybe a bit of a flaw in the results. Like it's Could
you explain to me? Has Platinum left the league, or It appeared as he retired, or
Yeah.
I'm not
I don't
sure.
know.
It's a bit confusing for me as well. I've heard some people say he has quit, but he didn't come up to me and say he has quit yet. So he only a few races he just said, okay, I'm not joining. So he kind of signed off for those races and told me that he will not be racing. But for the last couple of races, I didn't talk to him. So maybe he has decided to quit.
So do you really? I think do you really need some more new people in it, because you're not getting the full 16 grid every week now. It's usually you top about 8 or 9. Do you think you need to get some new people in, or?
Well, I'm not really too much worried about it. So far, I think we have 15. Maybe without Platinum, we have 14. So if everybody shows up, we have a pretty decent grid. It just appears that like 3 or 4 guys are having to miss a race usually. That makes us run with about 9 or 10 people, and I don't really mind it, to be honest. I think more people also generates more lag and more incidents usually, and if there are some quality drivers that can join us, then it's fine, of course, but we should not just fill up the places because of filling up the places,
Or maybe you could put Ollie up in there.
Yeah, we have asked him to come to F1, but he didn't. Yeah, well, he rejected that offer, so I think he will be in F1 next season probably.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, Senna, from a GP2 point of view, anything which really sticks out in that qualifying for you?
Well, in that qualifying, I think that it's pretty normal, to be honest, from what I've seen. The qualifying, I think.
You sure? Okay.
I
Right.
think Red Table should have been a bit higher up.
Yeah, I mean, Gunnar Gamble usually does a stonking lap as well. Usually once in a while.
Yeah,
But
he's
anyway.
quite hit and miss with qualifying.
But if we move on to the race result now, I mean, how was the race in general for you, Eric? You came second. Off the top of your head, how do you think it went, considering you just said it wasn't one of your better circuits?
Well, as we are going to have a look at the start soon, you will see the start was not optimal. I lost some places there, but I managed to fight my way back a little bit, and I think it was a really good race, except for those incidents on the first lap. I did a pretty consistent race, and there was also some rain expected, and that has shaken up the race a bit in the end. So that was also really crucial to get those timings right. I feel like I'm still learning and still improving on those timings when the weather changes, and that's really important to be on the right tire at the right time, as we have said many times before. In general, it was a really good race.
I mean, so if we just say we got Hendrickson first and second, and Redberg make it up into third. But I mean, if we just quickly go and look at the start now, if that's all right with everybody else, if we look at the start and see really what happened at the start. Do you want to take us through it, Eric? As the lights just go out and you whack it onto Rich.
I'm just following Hendrickson here through turns 1 and 2, and I have Dan 27's Massa on the back of me, but he's not really close. And as we brake here for turn 3, you can see I'm getting hit from behind by Dan 27's Massa. I'm turned sideways, and everybody is getting through, of course. He is pulling over there on the grass to let me back through, but I think the damage has already been done. I was really pissed at that point, to be honest, in the race. After the race, you can also look back at it. It might have been some lag involved. There's always lag chances with the Americans, as you know. There's more lag chances, and you can see an incident up front here between Woody and Gunnar Gamble, also lag related maybe. And I'm getting hit from the Dan 27's Massa again there. So yeah, it looked really messy there.
Yeah, it looked like bumper cars to me.
Let's look at from Darren's point of view. I think we'll get a better view from behind here of what happened to you in the. Is it the third corner? Yeah, it is the third corner, isn't it? Let's have a look.
Yeah.
He supposed to clips your left back wheel.
Yeah, you can see he just runs in the back of me. Maybe he was just braking a bit too late on heavy fuel. I was braking early, of course, because you know the cars are really heavy at the start, and you should take a few meters earlier to brake for those corners, especially on the first lap. Woody has a really interesting start there with having to avoid gun and gamble. That's really, yeah.
And the penalty is a bit of a kick in the teeth.
Yeah, that's a bit silly, of course. But he managed to gain a few places because of my incident with Dan 27's Mazda. And coming up now to the stadium section, we can see what happens between Gun and Gamble, and Woody just also gets hit there from behind or maybe left rear, but seems a bit lag related. I think these drivers, well, this is F1 and these drivers all know how to drive and race each other. They should be able to at least. So usually these incidents are lag related, but maybe some more care should be taken, you know, because we all know now that this game has these invisible boxes and stuff. So you can also, you know, take a bit of give a bit more space than usual to avoid the incidents.
It's not being, you know, we say it's lag related, but it seems to happen quite a lot on most start of every F1 race we've seen for the last couple of races. I mean, Woody again. I mean, do you think you should just slow a bit more down to start to negate the lag, or should you get people around to talk about it, or?
Well, I think like if you compare it to GP2, the main difference is of course that the cars are twice as heavy, you know, and that's I mean in a 50% race, then on the start it's not that much of a difference to qualifying fuel, so you don't really have to adjust the braking points that much, but on heavy fuel you really have to brake like 20 meters earlier, and it depends from, you know, it differs from corner to corner. So I think that's a real difference. Of course, F1 is so close. The field is maybe a bit closer than GP2. You can see that in qualifying we are only separated by 1 second sometimes, the whole field. So it's much more close, I think, in competitiveness and stuff. So maybe that's also a reason why there are more incidents. But I do agree that it's way too much, and it's much more than the previous seasons we have seen. So. Yeah.
Also, obviously, traditional Silverstone, we have the rain. I don't think there's no rain in GP2, luckily. But obviously, it looked like you. What happened on the last lap here? You were leading. Let's have a look.
Yeah.
What happened?
I was on the wet tires and I was trying to stay out and make it to the end of the race here, with Indrexen deciding to go on the Inters for the last 2 laps, and it was a bit of a gamble, but I still had that penalty from the first lap incidents and I was still having that in mind. So of course Indrexen didn't know about it, so I could still put a little bit of a pressure on him, but as you can see I'm able to keep the car on the track pretty much, but I'm just losing a lot of time by having to slow down and lifting off the throttle. I'm going pretty slow here through Baggots and Maggots, just to try and be careful and not lose the car. And but you can see Indrexen on the minimap is already closing in on me, and he's only about 3 seconds behind me now. I think he gained about 10 seconds on the final lap to me. So. He's closing it fast, and you can see I'm just losing the rear almost, but I'm able to save it. But as you can see now, we're coming up to the final chicane and the final corner. You can see Indrexen taking the inside here and just having a lot better grip on his Inter. So a good strategy call there from him. And I still managed to finish second, so keep my place from Red Saber. That was nice.
I mean, I can understand exactly why you did it, Eric. I mean, with that, 10-second penalty. Was it 10 seconds? 12, 20 seconds?
Yeah.
20 seconds. I can understand it. You go at the pits, you'd be closer to Red Bear. So I think you made the right call staying out, really.
If I would just copycat Indrek, then I would, near him, and I had to make 10 seconds on him somehow in order to win. So I had to do something different than his decision. So that's why I stayed out, basically.
But if we look at what you said to the press after the race, I think the link should be coming up on your screens now, guys.
Yep.
If you want to just read us, if you just want to read us what Eric said.
Okay, so it was your best result of the season, but how was it having taken the win away from you right at the end? I was not mad at all when Indrek overtook me at the end of the race. I think he deserves to win this race as he leads for most of it. I was just very happy with second place and could not have asked for more at a track that does not suit me. I was aiming for damage limitation, so it took me very promising for the second half of the season for me. Bring it on.
So you're looking forward to the second half, which is fantastic. But if we look at who came third, Bjorn, sounds like a Swedish band, Bjorn or something, wasn't it? That's my age. If you, Thomas, I mean, John, do you want to take us through that one?
Yeah, so he was asked, after starting on the back row of the grid, how challenging was it for you to get onto the podium? And he replies, I was very confident in my race pace, but honestly thought it would be much more difficult. Great start helped, and someone starting to maintain gap from Eric, and after that made it pretty comfortable. The rain screwed me big time because the championship lead was literally in my hands 10 laps before the end.
Ooh. I mean, we mentioned the championship. I mean, we can look at the championship. The top four are all in it to win it, and especially if Eric, if you can keep this up, you could be in the fight as well. If some of them, drop out or don't get good points, do you think it's possible?
Yeah, I think it's anything is possible. We are not even halfway, and because of Dimi just missing all those races now, it really opened up the fight for the title. And we have some consistent drivers in Bojan and Darren. They are mainly not the quickest drivers, and maybe Adam, Indrek, and me can take the fight to them. But the difference between, you can see Mark and the leader is just about not even 50 points, and that's 7 people. So, and 50 points is with 2 bad races you can gain 50 points. So it's still very open, I think, and you can see also a lot of different winners. The last 4 races we had since Dimi left, we had Indreksen winning, and we had Darren winning a race, and Dan of course returning, and then Indreksen again. But Indreksen also getting a DNF in the process there, so it's not really like a consistent winner at the moment. So it's really open, I think.
It seems really good fun. I mean, the constructors, I think it's between Toro Rosso and Williams really at the minute. I think Sauber's on 180 or 130? I can't really see.
130, I think.
130.
Yeah.
So really, it's between the Toro Rosso and the Williams, and the Toro Rosso has been the prize package of the season so far. I mean, we don't really want to touch on this too much because obviously we'll be talking about it in the mid-season review.
Yeah, I think at the start of the season we said that they were going to be a solid team, but I don't think we expected them to be like challenging right at the top.
I think we'll look for the mid-season review. We'll look back at what we said at the start of the season and see if that's planning out. I think the viewers listening would enjoy that, I think, as well. But let's move on to GP2. Oh, GP2. Mr. Six, qualifying.
Right, so it was dry all weekend, surprisingly. But we had Andrew Holmes on pole, closely followed by Ollie, who kind of mucked up his last lap a little bit. But anyways, Andrew still beat him, so that's all that matters. And then Jay Jones in 3rd, followed by LNC in 4th. Ben Alesi, I think, qualified on the primes in 5th. Then you, Aaron, in 6th. Then me, who also qualified on primes in 7th. Glove Pup in 8th. Killer Kyle in 9th. And Senna got disconnected at the start qualifying.
Senna, did you actually watch any of the qualifying when you reconnected? Did you spectate?
I was on board with Ollie for most of the time.
So. And how did he look? Did he look comfortable? Did he look like he could? I mean, that is a very close gap. Did you see any mistake anywhere on the fast lap?
I think I did see that last mistake. I think from what I remember, he locked up and I think went a little bit wide. But I really can't remember. But it looked pretty good from what I saw.
Yeah, I think he got a bit of oversteer going into the last curve bit.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It's a feature of Silverstone. You just need to be perfect, or if you don't, you're a little bit left, or a little bit wide. You lose so much time. But I think really it's not really a surprise really in that qualifying session. It's sort of the established order. If that makes sense.
I'm a bit surprised that Ollie wasn't able to put it out the bag, because he's done it all season, and I was a bit surprised that he actually didn't go as quick as he could have done.
Yeah, in practice he was nailing the 130s quite often.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised he's done that, but that's the way it goes.
Yeah, that's motor racing. But if we move on to the actual race results quickly, and we'll quickly get through these. There's a lot of penalties, but these penalties weren't for crashes or anything. It was for when Eric, you'll see how close the fighting was in this race, and it was little people just going a little wide off the track to give people enough room. I got 8 penalties doing that while fighting Glove Park. It was quite embarrassing, considering I was fourth or fifth at the time. But the funny thing is, if we look, if we want to touch the Senna, if you want to take us through the race results.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so P1, Ollie Cart, recovering from a slightly bad qualifying for him and taking it back up into P1. Then we've got Jay Jones, second in the Toro Rosso. Benalese getting a podium. Is it his first podium?
No, I don't think. No,
second.
Yeah, second or first.
It's a strong finish for Benalese there in the Lotus. Then we've got Jonathan with a really brilliant result there for Mercedes in fourth. That's helping out Ollie with the constructors. Andrew Holmes had an abysmal race compared to qualifying in fifth. Then you got LNC in sixth with the McLaren. Got Aaron in seventh. And somehow I'm in eighth. I thought I was ninth, but I'll take that. Glove Puff in ninth. Then Killer Kyle in 10th in Caterham.
I mean, this really shocks Jay Jones and Benalese. It's great for them getting the podium. I think Jay Jones deserved getting his first second place, isn't it? Is it his first second?
Pardon?
Is it Jay Jones' first second place?
Yeah, I think he's only got thirds before.
I mean, I could see him, Ben, winning a race if they're lucky. If Ollie's not there or Ollie has an incident, I can really see them winning the race.
Yeah.
But if we move on to the race itself now, okay, this was a really, 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 really good race. And if we'll just get to the lights going out now for Ollie. Jonathan, take it away.
Alright, so Ollie's just beaten into the first corner by Andrew. Just having to lift off a bit just so he doesn't make any contact. Coming round into the village section. Andrew takes quite a defensive line and then runs a bit wide. Now coming round the corner, leading onto the Wellington straight. Ollie's slipstreaming a bit. Comes out of the slipstream. Andrew's kind of squeezing a bit but giving enough room. And Ollie dives down the inside and takes that place, although Andrew's having another look around the outside. Can he do it? No, he just slips in behind, but tries to get the cut back again. Oh, nice move there. Takes the place. And Ollie's used all of his curves, so even better move.
Great driving by both drivers. They have massive respect for each other, and this sort of battle goes on for nearly all the race, really. But if you look from, this is a big sort of talking point at the start here. It is between Ben and LNC, and slightly hard to work out. I mean, Eric, what can you see from that?
Not much really. It happened behind him, I guess, but I think it happened too fast for me, I think, to really give a proper review of it.
I mean, from my on board, which we couldn't get into the footage, it was LNC catching the inside of my wheel, and then Ben catching the inside of Ben's. We see it from Glove Pump's point of view. Here you go.
Yeah, that looks a bit lag related, I think. It doesn't look normal. So. Yeah.
I mean, I think Ben said it was probably lag related, but I mean, considering his result, it didn't really affect his race that much.
Yeah. It's an unfortunate start, though. I mean, to start your race like that is always unfortunate and a bit disappointing. But you just have to, I think, stay positive and try to make a good second half of the race, really. And
yeah, thankfully for
there
them.
always will be opportunities if you just stay focused and optimistic.
Yeah, thankfully for both of them, they didn't really sustain too much damage, so it didn't affect them too much. Although they probably suffered a bit of understeer with the damaged wing.
But here we go. This is literally the first quarter of the race. Wheel-to-wheel racing, 3 drivers, amazing respect for first, second, and third. I mean, have you seen racing like this this close in GP2 before? Anyone?
Yeah, not that I can remember.
No, I mean, Eric. I mean, I mean, there's running out of room there. It's understandable, but look how close that is, Eric. I mean, you've probably never seen a GP2 race this season that close.
Yeah, it's great to see that, and I think these drivers are definitely having a lot of respect for each other, which we like to see. And if they just keep it up, they will be great additions to F1 next season.
I mean, Glove up this race. I mean, he was fantastic. I mean, talking in the post-race interview, he said he had I think we all had really good fun in this race. It was.
Yeah, it was so close.
It was anyone's.
There wasn't really much time where you weren't battling someone or trying to chase down someone.
Yeah, and you guys had your first dry race, so that was also.
I mean, look,
a good
3
thing.
cars abreast going down.
Yeah.
Do you know, I think I've only seen GP2 like this once before, and that was Canada. And again, that was Glove Pubs and monthly racing at the hairpin. So it obviously shows that we've got a good standard of racing this year in GP2, which is always good.
Yeah, and it's very close as well.
I mean, this is just mesmerising to watch now. I mean, look, just. Oh.
And this is the only bit of contact in the whole battle, I think. And it had to be me. I just caught up because I was on primes. I just caught up to the battle and just got caught in a bit of contact with LNC.
This is only trying to take advantage of me battling Jay Jones. I think that was very well taken by him, to be honest. Me getting a bit of a slow exit from. Was that Mackett's or Beckett's before Wellington Straight?
Don't know.
But no, me and Glove Pup had a really great Titanic battle. I mean, look at that, it's just.
Yeah, runs a bit wild, loses a few places. But then gets you straight back on the next lap.
Yeah.
Well,
it wasn't my race.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's the move.
I always admitted I'm not the best at Silverstone, but I mean, this is just 7 laps of just pure racing.
Yeah, and that battle really helped me out as because I was on primes and everyone else was on options. So I managed to kind of get a bit of a better first stint to everyone else.
You forced Ollie wide there, sir. But here we go. The deciding moment of the race.
Yeah.
What do you think? Lag or poor judgment?
I think Andrew probably came over a bit too early. Than I think he didn't. I think he thought it was past him already. But it might well have been there, to be honest.
I mean, this is a great final overtake, I think, to really win the race from Ollie, DRS, and Jay was there. It's just, just the way it is. If we look at what Ollie had to say after the race, I think it just sums it up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I got happy. I think it really says it all. But
yeah, home Grand Prix and birthday.
I mean, Eric, do you want to tell us what Jay Jones said? I mean, the question was, in the 6 races you have done, you've been off the podium once. What is the secret?
Yeah.
What did he say?
He replied, consistency in the race is key, so I try to stay consistent. I don't think I've made one racing mistake this year, and bearing in mind I'm a pad user, that's hard. Then again, I'm strong at these first races, but I'm not so good in the Asian races. Tim.
Ben? Senna?
Yeah, after a nightmare start, what are your thoughts and how did you bounce back so well? I accelerated away at the start, selected second gear. Next thing, I'm heading for the pit wall, and my first DNF. Luckily, it only partially broke my wing, so I felt fortunate in a way. However, the whole first stint, I had content with horrendous understeer, which took me a few laps to manage. I just tried to keep the pack in sight, which I just about managed before pitting for options. After that, the car was a weapon. I usually moved from 8th to 4th in 3 laps.
It's got a great finish by Ben. If we look at the championship standings, it's the top 3 is much of the same, but the fight for 4th, 5th, and 6th is spicing up. I mean, Jay's overtaken myself very quickly. I think that is going to be the fight for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think Ollie's running away with it, but I think if Joe Lancaster has a few more good, solid results, he could join you up there, I reckon.
I mean, it's turning out nicely between Thomas. I think Thomas will be a bit higher up, I think, when he gets back, because he's always consistent. But between you, John, and Paul, and Senna, you're in that mix as well. It's going to get really good.
Yeah, I more than doubled my points in one race, so I was pleased with that. But I think that's probably one of my last races of the season, because I'm not sure if I'll be home for much more of the season.
You'll be sorely missed.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame to miss out on this, but what you can do.
Yeah, I mean, Eric, what can you see from the standings at this mid-season point?
Well, Ollie is clearly leading now, and he's really trying to leave his mark now with 4 wins out of the last 5 races. So I think he's the clear favorite. But the gap is not that big, and especially if you have a few bad races, things can turn around for Andrew maybe. And Ben is really consistent. He has not been lower than 5th so far. He's finished every race, so that's looking really consistent. I think he's definitely going to be able to win a race if he just gets a bit lucky there with maybe Ollie having a bad race, and he can definitely be in the top 3. So these guys are looking for the top 3, and Jay only had 6 races so far. That's interesting. Out of the top 5, the rest of them did 3 races more to get those points. So Jay is also somebody, to be a force to be reckoned with.
I mean, do you think the top 4 get promoted to F1? Do you think, from what you've seen so far through the clips we've shown, do you think they'd be able to hold their own in F1 or?
Yeah, I think they just show the respect, and some of these drivers are really experienced. Of course, Jay and Ollie already been in F1 before, so I think they can definitely be there. And Andrew and Ben, I've not seen a lot from Ben, to be honest, as he doesn't record himself. But I've raced with Andrew at Malaysia, I think it was. We had a good battle there. And if these guys just gain some more experience, and learn some more things and stuff, and get some more races under their belt, then they're certainly will be ready for F1 at the end of the season. And
Now we're on the break. The race has been back, but we're now going to look forward to after the break. We're going to Hockenheim. It's not the Nürburgring this time. It is Hockenheim. I'm probably the only person who says this, but I miss the old Hockenheim. Going blasting through the trees. I miss it. Does anyone else feel the same? Or?
I've never driven around the old one, but I've seen it, so I wouldn't really know, to be honest.
I've never driven it, but I mean, I've heard the stories of it, of some of the greatest incidents and things that have happened. I'd like them to bring it back, just for old time's sake.
About you, Eric?
Yeah, but same story as Jonathan, really. I didn't drive there yet, so I couldn't really tell. But I think I like this track a lot more than I used to. And Nürburgring is really a favorite of mine, actually. Well, maybe not a favorite, but I just really like the track. Oh, yeah. Maybe it's a favorite then. But so I'm a bit disappointing that Nürburgring is gone off the calendar this year. But I did do the Champions mode, I think it was, against Vettel, and I really enjoyed that. Actually, I was just getting the rhythm, and you can really get some rhythm and flow going at this track. It's very high speed, so that's also something that I like usually.
What off the top of your head, what sort of times are you doing? What can you?
Well, I've not started testing and practicing yet, so I'm not sure. I couldn't give you an indication, but I think it will be in the 1:14, 1:15 or something. And this track, it's pretty short lap, so.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Annoyingly, I go back to uni on the day of the race, so I don't really need to practice for it.
But you, what do you think? You roughly off the top of your head, do you think you'd be able to do?
Well, I've actually done a quick race with one of my friends the other day, and in qualifying, I did a 1:16 on primes, and I think went about 0.3 quicker on options. So I think it's a 1:16.3. It's the best I've done.
That's quick.
But then it can all change on race weekend.
I mean, it does like to rain here. Curb Masters do like it to rain here, which is a bit of a problem. But Eric, since you haven't done it for a while, would you like to take us through a guide?
Yep.
Off you go.
Okay, so across the start-finish line to start the lap, really high-speed corner here, the first corner, just drop it down to 6th gear and use a lot of the exit curb there to just don't slow the car down too much. And braking for this corner here, you really need to open up the corner leading up to the straight, because it's a really, really long straight. Well, it's actually not a straight, but it's a long, relaxing moment here in order to wait for this braking zone here. Difficult braking zone to get right, especially on heavy fuel. You have to adjust your braking zone throughout the race in F1 and get a good exit there with a lot of traction, and coming down to these corners. It's just a flat out corner, braking down for the left-hander and then going to the right. And also use the exit curb there to maximize your straight line speed, and that's really the most important thing on this track, I think, the straight line speed. And then coming around the final corners here, a little bit of a technical session here. You really have to be accurate with your line and use a lot of the exit there to just maximize your exit speed on the straight to come and complete the lap.
So I think what we'll do is maybe annoy you start with John, but I think we'll do previewing predictions for the German Grand Prix in the mid-season review.
Yeah,
I think it would make a bit more sense.
Yeah.
I think, but overall, I think both F1 and GP2 showed what they can do this weekend. I think both races were fantastic. What we've seen, especially GP2. I think Eric, GP2 this weekend surprised you slightly by the way you were saying it. You didn't expect it to be that close.
Yeah, there was some great driving. I remember the race we had here last season in F1, and it was a really epic battle between, I think, 3 cars, like for a full race, going on for 3rd place. That was really nice to watch. And I remember my first season in Silverstone was in the heavy rain. We started, and I was battling with the guys like Jay Jones and Andrew Wood and some other guys back then. But also, yeah, those familiar guys. And it was just absolutely fantastic. We were just, maybe I can find and show you guys that video, but it was really epic. It was down in the heavy rain, and that made it more special. But yeah, it's looking good. And I had a pretty good battle in this race with Red Saber and Tadger at the start. It was not in the highlights, but it was a pretty good battle. It didn't last that long as the GP2 guys had. There was a much longer battle, but yeah, a really good race. And it somehow Silverstone tends to lead itself to close battles and stuff. Maybe there's just a lot of overtaking possibilities, and that's why it's so interesting to race there and to watch.
Yeah, I think other than the start of the F1, I think that these 2 races have probably shown how fair and clean race department leagues are,
yeah,
and how much fun they can be.
Yeah, there are of course a lot of issues with the lag. I think there are a lot more issues than previous game, but there is still evidence out there, and this just shows you that we can battle with each other. And since the patch, it's been a bit better, and just really good racing.
And not only is it lag, it's also the crash radius on this game as well, which wasn't on the last game. It's a bit messed up.
Yeah, especially with the penalties, they usually are a bit silly, and the Codemasters didn't really get it right with the collision penalties thing, in my opinion. But yeah, that's why we have them all reduced, and so you don't really have to lose that much time by taking a drive-through. But yeah, it still can mess up your race a bit if you're unlucky.
Yeah.
Definitely. Shall we wrap it up, gentlemen?
Yeah.
I know it seems a bit of a rush through, but the thing is, we have a lot to say which we want to keep for the mid-season review. I think we can all agree with that, and it's going to be fantastic. Who have we got lined up, John?
Everyone.
Off the top of your head, which famous people?
Me. There you go. That's it.
I mean, Eric, hopefully you'll be joining us. Senna, you'll be there, won't you?
No.
Unfortunately, I don't know. I hope to be there, but I could be in France. I'm not sure.
Ooh.
If I'm not in France, I'll be there.
Okay, right. That's it. I'm going to thank you all for coming, and we'll hope to have you soon, and wish you all the best the rest of the season. So it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
And good night to all of you.